to The Experience. Praise Temple, Shreveport, Louisiana. Bishop L. Lawrence Brandon, Senior Pastor. Love, worship, fellowship, relationships, home. For more information, visit us at praisetemple.com.
Well, great evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Praise Temple's Real Talk. On behalf of our bishop and co-pastor and the entire Praise Temple family, we greet you in divine love. And we are so excited today that you are sharing with us. I am your host, Elder Teresa Lee. As you come into this virtual platform, do something for me. Greet everyone. Let us know where you're coming in from, and also, if you don't mind, share this real talk broadcast with your friends and family. Let them know that we are about to have a real conversation about real life issues without any judgment. We're here to help. We're here to soften the blow. We're here to give you advice or our opinion, not really our opinion because most of it is experimental, on how to handle certain things and let you know that if you made it through that situation, you can continue to go. So as you come into this virtual platform, please greet everyone. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Share your city and state and or province in the chat. And please take time again to share this Real Talk program on your social media platforms. Again, we thank you for joining us on our Real Talk broadcast. Yes, and now I'm sorry, y'all. I had a little brain freeze. At this time, we're going to start introducing our co-host, which is Miss Tamara Love, also known as Tammy.
Hello.
Hello. And we're also going to introduce Minister Jay Kelly, also known as Jay Kells.
Hello, right. God bless you.
Hello, thank you all for joining us on today. I was just greeting our Real Talk platform. I was just greeting everyone that's coming in. If you will take this time to tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, and possibly where you're coming from.
Well, hello, I'm Tamara. I am in Kansas City, Kansas. I'm just happy to be here. You know, I just enjoy this Real Talk conversation. I hope all is well with everyone else. And if not, tomorrow will be better.
Amen.
Hello, everybody. God bless you. Of course, as Elder Lee said, I am Minister John Tavian Kelly, J. Kells, what some call me. I am just excited again to be back on Real Talk with you all. I work in the educational field, and I am just super excited to share tonight and to really dig in and talk about some real life issues. So I'm super excited. I'm stoked. If you can't tell, you can tell.
All right. Let's address this. Elder, Brenda said that she can't hear us. Is there something that I need to do? Thank you for sharing. Sincerely me. Thank you for sharing. As you come in this evening, family, if you will, please greet everyone and tell us where you're tuning in from. And also, if you will, share this broadcast with your friends and family. Okay. Miss Brenda, if you could turn up your volume. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast. We greatly appreciate you coming back to see us again. Today, family, we are going to pick up where we left off. What to do when you don't know what to do. And when we were in this conversation on September the 19th, I believe it was, we had some interesting questions and we had some interesting points. We're going to pick up from there. I know myself and Minister Elena had given some pointers on what to do when you don't know what to do. But what we didn't do is give you scriptures and stuff to go with that. There is so many scriptures to go with being confused or being lost or being hurt or in pain. And even when you just backed up against the wall, there's so many scriptures to go with it. Brother Jay, Jay, Kels, if you can speak a little bit about it from your point of view. Again, I know we talked about this, but what do you do really when you don't know what to do? And we're going to speak from a point of saved and unsaved, probably a little bit younger than what we are, with the teenagers who may be dealing with these issues and peer pressure. They're dealing with so many things. They don't know how to go to their parents. And you're an educator. Some of them don't know how to go to their parents, but they'll come to you. How does that work? Greetings.
Wow. Well, definitely, and I'm glad you brought that point up. Yes, dealing with education, I've definitely seen some different sides of this whole thing of not knowing what to do. And the biggest thing you actually just said it. A lot of children don't know how to communicate with their parents. And
Mm-hmm.
for me seeing that on that side, once I meet their parents, I understand why they don't necessarily go to their parents about certain issues, because I've met parents in my experience that are very defensive. They don't want to hear certain things. And then when you have parents that are of the faith as well, that are believers, some of them don't like to talk about these situations and things that their children, because they feel like these are not things that I should have to have a conversation with a child about. And so, but one
Mm.
thing that you have to realize, and I always, I said this to a parent, matter of fact, not too long ago, that what we have to realize is that kids are dealing with a whole lot more than what you dealt with as a child. Because a
True,
lot of the
true.
time there was a shelter. That means that if mom and daddy was into it, most of the time you didn't know mom and daddy was into it. You didn't
Sure
know
didn't.
that there were these struggles. You didn't know that, oh, we didn't have enough money to pay the lights. You just knew the lights was on and you just knew that.
Yeah.
But now kids are seeing and hearing and experiencing things on a deeper level, in a more personal level. Like, I've seen a lot of parents, their children know everything. They know that my mom and my dad, they'll tell me quick, Miss Kelly, my mom and my daddy not together. They don't like each other. This, and that go on. They get the fussing and fighting and cussing in front of us. And so guess what? Now that creates a pattern of the same thing. Their
Mm-hmm.
parents don't know what to do. And then on top of that, you have people that are having kids younger and younger now.
Yes.
And so
And
that's
that's
a
so
thing
true.
as well. A lot of parents don't know what to say because they're still learning and growing themselves.
That's
And
true
so,
because they may have had their child early.
right. And so that's a tough situation to deal with, especially when you're still trying to learn yourself, especially when you don't even know yourself yet and you're trying to help somebody, you're trying to help your child navigate through life, trying to figure out who they are, but you're still figuring out who you are as a person. You're still trying to figure out who you are as a parent. And so yes, I
Yeah.
definitely have seen a lot of parents that don't know what to do, and I've seen the stresses that come to children when they don't know what to do.
As an educator, when you have the opportunity to a parent that's not defensive, or even with a parent that is defensive, what kind of mechanism can you use? Now, I can speak from my point of view on what I use to get to parents that are defensive about things that you tell them. And I speak from I've been there, or I've done that before. I can snip it with telling a little bit about me, and even telling them their situation as they're telling me what's taking place. And as they're communicating, we're talking back and forth. And sometimes they'll stop and say, "How did you know?" And it's like, as adults, when we don't know something, I'm gonna speak for myself. Sometimes I don't want to ask somebody because I don't want you to think I'm dumb and crazy and don't know nothing. But how can you know what you don't know? I mean, asking a question to me is being smart. Is when you don't ask that question and you holding it in and you continuously, making the situation worse because you scared to say, "Hey, I don't know how to do this. I need some help doing this." You know, and some parents will come around and they will start to talk and ask the questions. And that's when you can open up and let them know, we've all been there. And as you said, J. Kels, our children are different these days. They are nothing like we were. When our parents were on the phone having a conversation, I remember my grandmother, she'll point that finger. And if you stood there while she pointed that finger, you close enough, you in arm's reach, you done got hit. And then she's going to point the finger again. So if you don't turn to walk away, it's coming again. So we knew signs to get out of the way. And they also knew not to put everything in front of us. These are grown people talking, get out of my face or get out of my business. And some parents today think that they're friends with their kids. Our viewing audience, if you can share with us some experience or some scenarios where you have been put in a position where you didn't know what to do. How did you get yourself in a position to stop making the same decision and step out and do something different? Sister Tamara, if you can speak on that. Do you work with the youth? Did I?
I did years ago. Right now it's school and part-time. I work for a bank. Okay. So I can say a lot about it for as correcting when a person doesn't know what to do. It's kind of vague on kind of answering that because many factors play a part. And I'm glad you said some, Kels, on social identities. Mm-hmm. How do people identify themselves in a social setting? Mm-hmm. Some people can't talk. Some people don't like to talk. Some people talk too much and feel like they'll be overbearing. Mm-hmm. Group differences make a difference. Race, culture. So how we help, as I feel like as leaders or mentors and things like that, we recognize who we're dealing with mm-hmm. when they don't know what to do. And we cater to the needs of that individual, if mm-hmm. that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I'm a social worker. And dealing with the parents that I work with, they come from DCFS. Some of them come from the courthouse, juvenile justice and stuff like that. Right. So when I have to deal with the parent from that platform, a lot of times the parents say, I have done all I could do. And you got that child sitting there because right now they are in a situation where they have to work together to keep this kid out of juvenile jail or, being taken and put in foster care. Right. So when you have in that setting, you have to get to the parent on another level. And I've been put in a position to where I have to. And it's fortunate for me that it was all in my culture. A culture that I was familiar with, a background that I was familiar with. Right. And hearing the young lady speak, she made some decisions. And some of the decisions she made because she didn't see her parent necessarily do it, but she heard them planning to do certain things. Right. And so when we talk and we don't know what our kids hear, we don't know how they interpret what they hear. Right. It could have been on something completely different, but the young lady interpreted what her mama said the way that her brain understood it. Right. In other words, mama was saying one thing and she said it that way, but the kid took it another way and the kid ran with it. Right. And it caused that kid to get into some trouble. Again, they didn't know how to come out of it. So they went to another friend in turn that pushed them even further in trouble. Because we can do it this way. Right. So they hear their peers and they hear their peers. So how can we get our parents to open that door to have those difficult conversations with our kids? Conversations that our parents did not probably have with us. I'm going to say my mom and daddy didn't have it with me. So I'm not going to say everybody. But again, they didn't know what I was doing when I left the house. Right. So a lot of times, how can you address what you don't know? Right. But coming from that perspective of being an adult, when you got your back up against the wall, do you continue to tread on that wall or do you look for an out? The question is it harder to look for an out or easier to keep on doing what you're doing? What would you say?
On that, like I say, that's a question. Like the question is, I'm not going to say it's non-answerable, but I'm going to say that to a certain extent. Because if a person does not know what to do, how can they know what to do? If we're saying that, all of that. So we'll just focus it on if someone comes to you after they realize that there's an issue or they don't know what to come. what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they're coming to you. So I'm gonna speak on that aspect of it. So it just depends on how they're communicating, because effective communication is top tier
That's
nowadays.
right. You don't have a
We
positive
can't,
person.
if we yell, or if we're overbearing, or if a lot of things play a part, and a lot of times we don't realize it. We can be trying to assist someone, but the way we deliver it can be all wrong. And once it's delivered in a certain way, honestly, it's coming in one ear and out the other. Because I'm a person that I talk loud, but if someone communicates with me where they sound aggressive, I'm gonna kind of back up. Why? I don't know. Because I talk loud, and it's not a, I don't feel like it's a I'm just loud and country, people say. So that's cool. I can deal with that. But if a person comes to me and wants to talk about something, they have to be in a more smooth and settled voice. Not saying that it'll happen all the time, but that's what helps me. And if someone is too loud, or if I feel like their tone is different, or things, especially when I'm trying to get help, then I'm gonna say, now I know to say it. Back in the day, before I knew me, before I knew a lot more things about myself, I would have just took it and just been like, I hope they hurry up and finish. And they could have had a lot of good information for me. But just because the way they said it, or the way they presented it, it shut me down. And versus me saying that, or saying how it made me feel, I ignored it, just took it, and I might have could have got some good information, but because the way it was delivered, I didn't get in it because it made me feel a certain way. So we need to find out these levels of what makes a person comfortable. It's not hard. It may seem hard, but you can kind of feel a person. It's like, if you know your neighbor, your friend, you know, when you can look at them most of the time and tell when they having a bad day. How do we go about that situation? What do we say? You know, things of that nature. That matters. It's little things that matter that can help us get to the big issue. That makes sense. But
Yeah. J. Kels, that question right there, that was a question.
Okay. I think personally, looking at this question, it's definitely harder looking for a way out. It's definitely harder looking for a way out, because the biggest part that I think is hard is starting like Sister Tamara just said. It's hard to pinpoint what to do when you don't know what to do. And so when you look at it, it's hard to look for ways out, because of the fact that a lot of the time when you're looking for a way out, it takes you to a place. It takes you to a lot of places that you're not ready to go. So when you step forward and you look for a way out of a situation, it may cause you a lot of pain to deal with the things that are gonna be required for you to get out of the situation that you're in. And it's going to require you because when you start doing the work to get out of something, that means you're starting the process of healing, starting the process of accountability, starting the process of looking at things in a way that you've never had to look at them. And it also causes you to have to look at issues that you have put underneath the rug, and that causes you to pull that rug up and deal with everything that you've placed under that rug all those years. And that's the biggest part, because a lot of the time you didn't realize that a lot of the stuff that somebody said to you, or a lot of the stuff that your parents said to you, or a lot of stuff your friends said to you affected you, but you swept that under the rug. And so those are all big things that you're going to have to deal with, because a lot of the time it's easier for us to keep on going, keep on smiling and going through the motions as if everything is okay, than dealing with something directly, especially when some people have this notion that I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like to deal with things like that. You know, I'm more settled. But sometimes if you go through life casually, you will suffer casualties. And so you will mess yourself up if you don't deal with the things that you need to deal with. And also understanding that it's important to find somebody that will support you through it, because you cannot do it by yourself.
Yes,
You
and
need
that's
somebody
true.
to support you. You need somebody to hold you accountable, but
Yes,
also deal with you with a gentle hand. Because if you have been through a lot of things, you don't need somebody. Some people had this thing about, tough love, but sometimes I need a gentle hand because I don't need you
yes.
to handle me rough because I've been handled rough enough in life.
That's true. That's true. Thank you, Sister Marvelous. Thank you. So, Miss Sister Marvelous said, I think you have to look for many ways out because you're running to a wall after wall versus just riding out the storm. Pretty much what you're saying right here. Thank you for those comments. Thank you all for sharing your comments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated. Going through life casually will cause casualties. That's true, J. Kills. That's really true. And you spoke on it, both of y'all. Change is hard. So if you have to change your situation, you don't know who's going to stand with you. You don't know if you're going to be by yourself. You don't know if it's going to work. So again, you're taking a chance on something that you don't know. Right. So with that being said, would you rather take a chance on what you don't know, or would you rather keep riding on what you do know and getting that outcome? The outcome never changes no matter how many ways you do it or how many things you do different. Once you get to that place, one of my clients was talking about so much stuff when you said pulling the layers off, pulling stuff off. And keep in mind, y'all, these are adults. Some of them are adults. I deal with adults and family, and then adult and then kid. Well, a family member was saying all these different layers that they pulled off and started to do stuff different. And then they started getting put down by the people they were hanging with. They started turning their backs on them and this, that, and the other. And she actually said that it was good because a lot of the stuff that she had gotten into was influence. She said she always had a feeling to do something different, but she came from a mother who was a drug addict and really did not want her, and a father who chose other things over them. And so she said, pulling off these layers, it was so hard to move forward because I feel like I had to do it by myself. And she said it was an educator. It was one of her teachers who told her in a tone that you were talking about, because you spoke about the tone and how you said, and if you're doing all this when you're talking, how do you get a person's attention? She said she sat in the classroom and the teacher asked her what was going on, is everything okay, in other words. And she started talking, and she said that was the first person she was able to trust. And through her change, that person was there to help her. To this day, that person is still in her life. So she credits this lady for hearing her, for believing her, because her family didn't believe her. They didn't think what she was saying was true. And then again, her issues were not important. The food issue, the paying the bills, and making sure you're safe, and this, that, and the other. And plus that, she said, my mom had me at an early age. So she felt like when I got to a certain age, I was grown, so she can have her life back. So she wasn't taught, a lot of stuff. But peeling off those layers, for some, getting to a place where somebody can hear you and opening up your mind to a certain extent to know that change is not always bad. You changed from one situation to another and it was bad. Then you went from something else to something else and it was worse. So stepping out to do something different solo is not easy, but you take a chance on those who are there to help you. That makes sense. Yeah. So that's good. Change is not always for everybody. So let's keep it going. Jay, with your students, and we're focusing really on peers now, because our peers that are now, their mothers are not far from their age. You can have a 15-year-old and the mom is 30. So she was 15 when she had her, so she was still a kid. How do you talk to a kid that come to you and tell you a life-changing situation, or a situation that you may need to approach another authority about? Have you had that situation?
I have had several situations like that, because one thing about it, I work in a school that services mostly low income families. And so they come with a lot of issues dealing with the things that go on in their neighborhood and dealing with that. But I have dealt with a lot of situations that have been traumatic, and a lot of the time it has come to where I've had to. And one thing about it, I'm glad that we have a behavior interventionalist that we have on campus, and we have, of course, counselors and things like that that definitely assist in that area, because I've had situations where students have came to me and told me things that, even some of the stuff that I've been told, it was too much for me to take in. It took me to a place that was just like, wow, this is a child going through this. And sometimes it sits and I've had situations where children have told me stuff, and before they started crying, I was crying. And so it's hurtful. But then on top of that, what is the moving part about it all is that they trust me enough with the most intimate details of their life. And so that tells me that they want something to change, because when you look in people's eyes, you can tell in people's eyes and in their body language that they're ready for change. They're ready for something different, and they're reaching out for help. And that's one thing about it. I understand that you have to be patient with people, and you have to be willing to just say, I'm here to listen.
Yes.
I'm here to listen, because at the end of the day, I understand that you can give advice and have all the best intentions in the world.
Yes.
And it can still mess up the whole thing, because at the end of the day, I do understand I'm not a professional in that particular field or area. But one thing that I want to be able to do is I know how to get you to the resources that can help you first. And that's important to know what resources are there to help. Once I get the behavioral interventionalists involved, then now we can get the ball rolling with some type of services, and we can kind of look into what's going on and see how we can better support the child, better support the parent, because sometimes the parent needs support as well, and they need to be pulled in, and we have to rally around that parent and let that parent know it's okay to not know what to do.
Yes.
It's okay, because a lot of the times we have to look at, they were not given the tools. They were not given the proper manner in the way to deal with certain situations. So it's best to try to support them through it and help them through it. Because of course you can't enter in with a judgmental mindset, because people feel that even when you don't say it, they can sense it.
They can. Tamara, speak on that question. Sincerely, me got a couple of questions.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it, and I've been over here.
I would like her to go back to that question about the suicide.
Yes. Have mental health issues become more prevalent in teenagers since the pandemic? I wish I had the paper that I had to write several weeks ago. Yes, most definitely, a lot in social media. So as parents and us as advocates of the students with the parents and the families, social media is a good platform. It's good because this real talk is on there. Have nothing bad to say, but y'all, we have to monitor our kids on this social media. The ages they're starting to look at social media. Mentally, this pandemic has their socially is their social skills are not good. I'll say that. Okay, so when I say that, we recognize the problem. We understand the problem. So now we're going to have to do some things to help fix that issue, because it's big, y'all. It's major. For its competition, for its they looking at different things. They don't have certain things. It's beyond seeing it at school now. They see it when they on their phone. They and realistically, they can say, or a child doesn't know because they're still developing. So of course, if you see somebody in J's every day, you see all they talk about is money, all they talk about is this, all they talk about is that, and they wondering why they lights off, or something else going on, or it's a lot. Mentally, we have to help our kids out, because sincerely, that is bad. It really is,
and that is so true.
It enough, and as advocates, like I'm saying, it's a lot.
It brings a lot of,
gets me teary-eyed, because we don't realize and recognize how bad it is, because we're doing the same thing.
Yes.
And when I say the same thing on social media, we're bringing, and I'm just saying we as in
A
others.
whole.
It may not be you individually, but
Yes.
think about what you put on Facebook. Think
Mm-hmm.
about what you put on TikTok. Think about what you're putting on Snapchat. Think about who's seeing this. You have nieces seeing this. You have cousins seeing this. You have parents that's not monitoring it
That's
because
right.
they can get to, unless you can and you should, but realistically, what we do when that grandmother is taking care of the kids. The grandmother's 70, 80 years old. They don't. Some of them know about social media, some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them know about, let me go in here and get this phone at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And some of them just say, get off the phone and thinking they just gonna get off the phone.
No.
You know what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
true.
So
That is so
it's
true.
deep. Sincerely, that's real good. Well, I feel like we should have I'm gonna write that one down. That's real good because it's a lot that we need to
I
talk
have some
about when it comes to that. It
I
really
had
is.
our statistics on suicide with the teenagers. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I also had to do some research on that. And a lot of our parents that have kids, when they are actually kids, you find out that their parents, the parents of the parent that had the teenager, their parents classified them as, you're grown now, you have a baby. Now, some parents didn't do that. I was one that had a baby when I was 16. My mom and daddy, they helped me. They helped me, they taught me, they showed me stuff. Now, were they happy about it? No, they wasn't happy about it, but they did not put me out to go and handle this on my own. Some of the things that they told me I liked, and some of them I didn't. But did I have to give up my plans to take care of that responsibility? So I did. I did. I actually stopped everything, going to school and all. I dropped out of school just to stay with my baby. My parents, again, they didn't put me out. I learned how to be a mother at 16, from watching my mama cook, clean, make sure we had stuff. You know, my dad worked, even though they wasn't, all of us was dysfunctional. But in that household, we found out that family helped family. Not always you get, something happen and you put the child out because you say, I don't want this extra responsibility. My mom and dad, again, they weren't happy about it, but they took on the responsibility of the financial part. And for me and my child to have somewhere to live at. They didn't put us out. So some of those things we didn't have to face. Again, they were adults enough to know, what to do in some instances. And I believe they did pretty good. Now, other instances were not too good. But if we can get to our parents that had their kids at an early age, if we can get to those parents and help them to know it's okay when you don't know, but it's better when you don't know if you ask a question. Some people look at society as judgmental. Like you guys said, you don't judge me, you don't talk about me and this, that, and other. Well, that's what you've been getting. But again, if you don't step out to hear that change, you'll never be able to help your kids. Your kids are going to always run to somebody else that they believe or think care about them. When actuality is not. You see a lot of trafficking. You see a lot of gangs. You see a lot of the wrong sources hooking up to your kids and your kids believing that what they're doing is love because this outside source pay a whole lot more attention than you do. The question, can you put it back up there, please? How to educate?
How do we educate adults on being sensitive to childhood issues?
If you
Letting
have
them
to,
know that we're in a different time frame.
and you
They know
actually,
that, they understand, but a lot of times we're quick to say, and I've caught myself, don't do what I did, do as I say. Not because basically I've been there, done that, so don't make the same mistake I did. That's what I'm
mm-hmm,
trying to say. And that's understood. That's very good. That's very valid information when it comes to different events, things like that. But this is a whole different time.
it's
And
a
these
whole different
kids,
ball
like
game.
JKL said, they're dealing with way more than I'm talking about. It's things out there. They're exposed to way more than what we were.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you was exposed to the most crucial back in the day, I
Yeah.
promise you, this time, this right here, 2022, it's 100 times deeper.
It's very, very, very
So
different.
we have to let them know that. And they'll know it, but a lot of times when you hear it and actually talk about it, communicating about, they'll actually see it. Give them examples. Did we
That's the
have
thing right
phones at
there.
that age? Did we
That's the
have? I
thing.
had a phone, but it was a flip phone. We couldn't do all this social media, all this texting. I forgot what was back in the day. What was it? Black Planet, or
Oh.
something like that. That was my little era.
What,
Just stuff
MySpace
like
or
that.
something like
But
that?
if you go even further back, it wasn't even that. And Black Planet, I wasn't able to be on it till I was a senior in high school. I know that. So it's different because it's just was the parenting lifestyles. It was the parenting skills. It was them actually at that time. I would say we had busy parents that worked hard, that did a lot of things, but they still tried to discipline their children.
You see that a
Now,
lot now too.
now you will see it. They're overwhelmed. It's like an overwhelming, and now it's like the kids are getting disciplined, but is the way they're being disciplined effective? A lot of times we used to and I am not saying spare the rod. We ain't gonna speak on that. I'm not saying none of that because you still spank them, stuff like that, things of that nature, whatever you got to do to get them right. However you do your thing at your house is your parenting style. But are we communicating? Do they
Yes.
know why they got this spanking? Are
Yes.
we talking to them? This hurts me more than anything to do it, but I have to do it because
Yeah.
I told you 10 times or 2 times before not to do it, but we're going to talk about it. So you have to, because how else if I'm just getting a whooping and we leave it alone, I'm just going to be mad at you about the whooping. And
Yeah.
I know I did wrong.
Yeah. But you're
Just
not
be
explaining
real.
to
Just
me.
just be real. Just think about it. I think about, because the only thing that I can compare is like my nieces and nephews, keeping them. And my brothers, they'll tell me so. Because when you come to my house, and much as I be on social media, we don't do phones. We play games. We go outside. We talk to each other. What's your goal? That's just me. Because that's what we need to get back to. On that instance, we gotta, and it's us as the adults to bring it back. Because if
Yes.
I don't give you a phone or I give you limitations on your phone, then you're going to find something else to do. And if I'm home or if I have someone taking care of you, whatever the case may be, then they're going to think, okay, we have plenty of things we can learn about school. Educationally, we plethora of things for us in the pandemic history. We have plenty of things we can do to subside their time on social media because it's bad. And I keep saying social media because it's bad. It's real. It really is. And I'm not saying is it a bad thing to be on a platform, but at a certain age and they're exposed to all of it at once, it can be.
That's where they go to now for a lot of information. That's
Right.
where they go to now for a lot of information. So we have to have all those conversations much sooner because of the exposure and all influences. And that's true. How do you get a parent
Wow.
and that's true. How do you get a parent that don't know this? How do you get them to understand that this is what's needed? This is why
Right.
your child is doing X,
Right.
Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And I get those questions in a lot of sessions that I have. And I use myself as an example. Again, I had my first child when I was 16. By the time my baby was 10, I had told her so much of my childhood. And I kind of explained to her that I wasn't able to be a child. I had to do things that the adult was supposed to do. I could have taken that and pushed it on her. I didn't want for her. I really didn't want for her what I had to do. So I took the chance. I'm the one that made the change. So I'm the change right here on this line. I took the chance. I made the change. And true, I was by myself. None of my friends understood why I wouldn't let my kids go hang out here, why I went and hung out there. If you don't know the background of the parent that had the child, then you shouldn't really put your mouth on it because you don't know what's going on. I was called mean, I was called snooty, I was called stuck up, I was called some of everything. And everybody that was saying these things to me had more education than me, They had better houses than me. They even had cars and stuff when I was on the bus. However, the things that their kids was exposed to at that age during that time, my kids wasn't.
Right.
I had the time to spend with my kids. I was upset too. I was upset because I felt like I had to do this by myself. The father wasn't there, definitely. But after me getting past that, I looked at what I did. I brought this child into this world. So it'll be very selfish of me to leave this child like I was left, or leave this child to fend for themselves. We have to get our parents to know that the kids did not ask to come into the situations that they came into. And we have to put our lifestyle as to what we want to do on hold for their benefit. Because I told each one of my kids, I would rather spend money on you doing something positive than to send you money to the jailhouse. Now, I heard our bishop preach this several times. Now, I'm going to teach you right from wrong. And as you get older, you'll make that choice or decision yourself. But remember, you're going to always come back to that source that you know helps you. I told my kids I would rather spend money on you than to give it to the system. If I can't teach you here at home and you can't hear me, the streets is going to raise you, but you're going to wind up in a place that you don't want to be. It's better to hear the rules at home than to have to hear the rules in jail, or to have to hear the rules in a convalescent home, or to have to hear the rules in a juvenile probation center. So we have to get to our parents in that way. How do you want to how do you want to reach your kids? Do you want to reach them when you're sitting on this side of the table and they on that side? Do you want to see them when they open the door for you to see them, or do you want to see them at will? So we have to know that we are not their friends. We're not their friends. We can talk to them and communicate with them, but we communicate with them on the level of I love you and I want you to do better. You're not going to like everything I say. However, it's detrimental for you because every action you take has a consequence. If we can get to our parents and get them to hear us, and maybe it'll be a different conversation. But until we find a way, I don't know the way. We have to find a way to reach our parents, our millennial parents. We have some parents, our millennial parents, they have these kids that's all over the place. They rule them with XYZ got a phone. How come I can't have one? And there you go, buying them a phone. You can't do that. Our parents have to have some type of backbone. If you paying the bills at your house and if you're taking care of your kids should not be able to tell you how you spend your money that you work for. At Praise Temple, I was taught, if I pay the bills here, I make sure you got food to eat and clothes and stuff on your back. You have no privacy. We can take the door off the hinges. When I bought you that phone, I don't have to let you have it. I can take it back. Everything that we pacify our kids with, we have to change that. Why give it to them when they're not deserving of it? Why give them something just to get them out of your way? We have to get our parents, especially our millennial parents, back to a place where they can hear their kids. Some of their kids tell their parents, I'm going to commit suicide. I'd rather be dead than to be here with you. And the parent will turn back and say, well, do it. You're not understanding the hurt that this baby is feeling. The reason you don't understand it is because you didn't take the time to understand the hurt that you was dealing with before you had the baby. You was dealing with so much stuff and you thought that baby was going to make a change. Or even you went out and made a mistake and thought, you had the love or whatever. But after the situation took place, now it's time to look at it a whole different way. I keep in the back of my head, neither one of my kids asked to come here. And I would rather be dead than to let somebody else raise my kids. Because when somebody else raising your kids, they know nothing about you. You're not giving them no life tools. They learn it all from other people. But the minute you see them make that mistake, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Well, if you were here to teach me what I should and shouldn't do, I wouldn't have to learn it from the street. So, I mean, it's here. I want to cry, but I can't. because it's a hard topic, and we have to find a way to get to our parents, the millennial parents, namely 18 to 35. We have to find a way to get to them, and they're the one making the population bigger with having kids. So I don't know what the solution is, but I hope
They
these
don't.
conversations that we having is reaching somebody.
They don't know themselves. So like they don't know who they are. Most of them don't. And until we identify who we are, and that's like a big thing, we're not gonna be able to help anyone else, and that could be our own kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the realistic. So what can we do to help those parents? And I'm looking at, is that Miss Who is that?
Miss
Miss
Marvelous.
Morris.
Mm-hmm.
Are there parental resources that
Resources.
hold informational sessions that introduces these influences, safe measures, and how to police and educate their children available? Yes, I'm pretty sure it's just specifically where you are.
Yes.
Me personally, I have a girls group for, it's called Mentors, Women Educating Neighborhood Teens on Responsibility and Self-Control.
Mm-hmm.
We do seminars virtually. That
Mm-hmm.
way we gonna cross the span because we want to help. We, like Bishop always say, we better together.
Yes.
We truly are. And what's so phenomenal about this and everybody commenting is we recognize that there are issues in society. And we're doing things, we may not fix it overnight,
That's
but
right.
this will help someone. So you're building your tools now to help others. They
Mm-hmm.
have to ask. And as a teacher, as an advocate, we have to be, though, as mentors, as leaders, we have to be those advocates for people.
Good thing. Thank you. I
We
was about
are
to
the
ask
advocate.
that.
If I see that a child that I'm dealing with and their parent is struggling with something and they don't know how to communicate with their child, who's around their child more than the parent or
Mm,
just about the teacher?
the
So
teacher.
go to that teacher. If we're parents and we honestly, we're at the last edge, like, I don't know how to communicate with them anymore. I don't know what to do. Ask their teacher. So
Yeah,
when you talk to them a certain way, and y'all gonna have to have deep conversation, just be
that's
honest.
right.
How
Mm-hmm.
do they respond when you say this?
Mm-hmm.
How do they respond if they miss a question and you tell them what they, because some people don't like missing questions. Some people don't like being wrong. You want to hear, and that's going to help you as a parent to understand your child, how you're going to be able to come out, with communicating with different things. So
Mm-hmm.
that's important. And not saying that gentle, and somebody said something about gentle parenting. That depends on the child. I'm kind of, because that's kind of going where I'm trying to go with it for is that
Yes.
you don't have to quote unquote be, because they need to know that when they do something wrong, that there is a consequence.
Yes.
The consequence could be based on that child and how they learn. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to whoop me for me to because I was the type that I just wanted to make my parents happy. That was me. I just wanted to, whatever's gonna make I didn't want, because I hated people saying preacher's kids, the worst was da 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 da. So while I was at my parents' house, I wanted to make sure that I did everything right. That put a lot of pressure on me because I felt that I had to be perfect, because I didn't want people to say, "Oh, Tammy did this. Oh, her dad up." I didn't want that on me. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever I did, I said, "I'm gonna wait till I get out their house." Now I
Yeah.
did my thing when I got out their house. Before is that put a lot of think about that. I'm 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, because I did it up until my senior year. That was just me.
Mm-hmm.
But I had brothers that, hey, they kind of tested the water sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
you didn't have to whoop me like that. It wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
whoopings wasn't in our house. You didn't have that. Yeah, that ain't how I learned. So
That's right.
you didn't have to whoop me like that. You could say it in a certain way or something like that, and I'm scared. I just ain't gonna do it no more. If I want to risk it or do it again, I do it when I ain't at your house. So
All
that
right.
it just depends on the child, and it depends
Yes.
on where they are mentally. That's
Mm-hmm.
just I hated the phrase preachers kids are the worst ones.
Wow.
That messed me. And you would think that's something so, just seems so, but that's a lot of pressure on a person, because I'm thinking literally I'm thinking like whatever mistakes I'm making is gonna make my daddy look bad because he preaching.
Wow. And some
So
kids
when it
think like
comes
that
to
too.
parenting, it depends on that child. With me,
Mm-hmm.
you might have didn't have to whoop me. With my brother or with somebody, you might have had they might have had to get a whooping because they might have tried to do it again. So you might have had to kind of do it that way. You might could
Mm-hmm.
talk to me, and that's why you just gotta know your child and learn your child. Just ask
Yes.
them questions. We have to start talking to them. If you know that your child are exposed to some topics such as sex and other things like that, start having those conversations. Because for one, once they're exposed, they know a little bit more than what we see.
What we think they know.
They
Yeah.
know a little bit more. If the topic has come across, they know it's deeper than what's presented.
Yes.
So if I'm the parent, I'm gonna start talking to you about these. What questions do you have? And
Mm-hmm.
make sure you're coming from a place of you can parent, but still just don't put that judgmental thing up so quick. Now, after they state whatever they state, then you have to have conversations like that. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times they won't come to you because they think they go, mama gonna fuss at, she gonna da 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 da, she gonna be hurt, and that's okay. Sometimes you are, but
But
effective communicating.
you have to be willing to be hurt in order to help your kids not hurt worse.
Mhm.
There was a question up there about mentors. If you can put that one back and then post Miss Marvelous question back up there. Miss Tamara, they're asking
Oh,
you
okay,
about the winters. If you could like share the
absolutely.
link and maybe we can share it here in Louisiana where we are, like open it up to the public and is it okay for other people to
Absolutely,
join
absolutely.
from where we are?
I send you an email. Send the I can't I figured out. I'm gonna send it to you. It's wintors20 at
Mm-hmm.
Gmail.
I have your email, but like when you have the seminars and when y'all have the
That's what
different
I'm saying. It'll be on there. I send everything through that. Right now it's
okay,
just wintors20 at Gmail. So
okay.
whoever typing it in, because it look like I can't type anymore.
When
Wintors20 WENTORS 20 at Gmail.
mm-hmm. And when you have it, like you can give it to us a little bit in advance and we can start posting it, so people can
Absolutely.
join and we can put it out there and
Absolutely.
say for parents and for children, but mainly is it for
Absolutely.
parents and kids or just parents?
Well, the mentor program is for girls only, but
Mm-hmm.
we do have seminars where we talk about different topics.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why I said yeah.
Okay. All right. And Miss Marvelous, if that question could come back up, but let's take this time. I want to thank our virtual audience for joining us on Real Talk. I want to thank you guys so much for all of your questions, for your comments, for sharing with us your thoughts. And we do take them to heart. And we just thank you for joining us on Real Talk this evening. I do want
Good,
to
Miss
let you know
Mills.
that you can reach us if you have any concerns or any questions and you want to keep it private. You can reach us at realtalk@praisetemple.com, or you can reach us by the call or text. And the text number and call number is 318-219-6827. I really do thank you guys for joining us on this evening. Oh, Sister Marvelous, I have done that too. It wasn't a Twitter. Is that a Twitter account? What's the TT's account?
Is it TikTok?
TikTok. Okay.
I'm
TikTok.
assuming. I don't know. I don't know. Is it
I'm thinking
TikTok?
it might be
JK, is
TikTok.
it
It's
TikTok?
TikTok, J. Chaos. It's
Is
TikTok.
TT TikTok?
Probably.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now,
Look, I be like the acronyms. Might be something. And I be like, I'm gonna ask.
well, you're right about this. Now, Braylon, my baby, have shown me the words and like the letters that they use. Just say, for instance, I want to say, what you doing? I'm gonna say WDY. WYD, what you doing? So he
Right.
taught me some of those little initials. They just put the letter on there and the
Right.
kids figure out what it is. Parents,
Right.
we trying to figure this out and see what the world is going on.
Right.
But when you
Yeah.
get to what it is, it's like, really?
Yeah.
So that's good. Miss Mars is cleaning out your
It
baby's
is.
TikTok account, and you showed her what to look out for and to report to you and her parents and teach them what to look for. Yes, we have that now. I have given that to some parents, and some parents said this: "She locked me out. She locked you out. She won't have that." I mean, period, point blank. You are still in control. We can get our parents to know that they are in control and
Still
not
in
their
control.
kids. A
Absolutely.
lot of stuff will be different. A lot of stuff will be different, but when you let your kids know that you're in control, you also have to be in control of you. You can't do it today and stop tomorrow because you want to do something. This has got to be ongoing. It can't be a broken system. If you say today, if you don't clean that room, I'm gonna take your phone for 3 days.
Right.
You gotta take the phone for 3
You gotta
days.
stand on it. You gotta stand on it.
Don't say, okay, well, you did it. I'm glad. Here you go. No, you got to stick to what you're saying because the kids are looking at you and they're picking up. Oh, she don't mean what she say. She gonna say it today and get mad, but she gonna get it back to me. So you can't expect them to do what you're asking them to do if you wishy-washy about the consequences that come with whatever action they did.
That's right.
And a lot of times the consequences have to fit the action. Sometimes they go overboard.
Right.
Yes.
Some things, if our kids don't know, how can you punish them for what they don't know? You should be punishing yourself because you didn't take the time to tell them, or take the time to reach out to them, or take the time to go through their backpack and see what's in there. Take the time to open that door. Take the time to look in their room and see what's in there. You in the room, but you're still in my house. So everything in here, I can go in. Everything. Ain't no secrets in here. You can't go in my stuff, but I can definitely go in your stuff. So with that being said, if we can get our parents to get to that level, that's still Sister Margaret's question. I would love for us to put together a platform for our parents, our millennial parents, on parenting. I could get some information together. We can all put some information together and get some great resources to bring to our parents and let them. She said it took me 2 days to go.
Okay.
I just shut it down. It's too much to go through. It's a lot. TikTok. What's that other one? Instagram. What's the other one?
Snapchat, Facebook.
Yeah. Oh my God, Snapchat is the worst. Yeah, it's the worst. But if we take the time to do those things, it'll benefit.
What'd you say, JK? What'd he say?
It's a lot that goes on Snapchat. Like the most of the things that my students talk about, they're dealing with anything is mostly Snapchat and Instagram.
Right.
So many.
Well, it's nearing our time to shut down. I just want to leave this with us. Thank you all for sharing with us and coming on today. Please take the time to read the screen at the bottom. If you want to leave an offering or pay your tithes or give a pledge or make a vow, anything, please do it by going to the giving online at praisetemple.com or at the 28950. Also, leave your comments and thoughts on what you thought. Ask the questions. We go back and review this after we are done. I just want to leave with you. When you're going through something, seek positive advice from somebody that you trust. Find a place where you're happy at and try to get to that place. Stick to it. Also, share your thoughts with somebody that you can trust. If you have not been to a church, if you don't have a church home, we offer our church to you, Praise Temple. We're a door where the hinges swing on love. You can come in there. We're not judgmental people. And I'm sure if you go into another spot, they're not judgmental. Sometimes we got to be willing to make the change in order for the change to come. I was told I have to be the change that I'm expecting. So if you can be the change that you're expecting, that change is going to come. Is it going to come overnight? No, it won't, because you didn't get in this situation overnight. But I just want to leave you with my favorite scripture. My favorite scripture is Romans 12:12. It says to rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, and to stay steadfast in prayer. My encouragement to you is to get a relationship with God if you don't have one. My encouragement to you is to find a place where you feel like you can talk to somebody about what you have going on. My encouragement to you is get out of the norm, step out, get uncomfortable to make your children comfortable in hearing you. Get uncomfortable to get your situation together. Any parting words? Love.
It was great. Love you all. Just stay encouraged. Whatever it is, we in this together. If you need help, get help, seek help. You can just help is out there. We just have to ask. So just because you're going through a situation today doesn't mean that you can't take steps to better that situation. So just stay positive. Even when it's negative, just stay positive. God's got it.
Amen. I have to take my review. I know I'm going to take it. JKS, can you please close us in prayer? Because I did not pray when we opened up, and I can't believe you didn't say nothing. Our bad, Bishop, Sister Leader. We're sorry. We normally pray before we do any and everything. We want God to get the glory. It's not about us. It's about helping and doing what God called us to do. I do apologize for that. So we're going to pray closing up. JK.
Amen. First and foremost, before we close in prayer, I want to say that everything was wonderful on tonight. God is amazing. And of course, I want to say that even if you don't know God, trust you. If you get to know him and you try him, you will find him to be a very good friend, and you will find him being able to fill any voids that you may have in your life. I just want to say that before I pray. So now we can go right into prayer. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for your glory, for your power, God. God, we are so thankful because not only do you give wisdom, God, but you give understanding, God. And God, it says that if any man lack wisdom, God, let them ask, let them seek for it. And God, we're so grateful to be able to follow after you. God, we ask on tonight that everything that we said, we pray that something touched somebody, because if we could just reach one person, we've made a difference. And so we are thankful to you on tonight, God, because you gave us the words to say, God. You put the words down in our hearts, God. You put the words on our mind, God. And we're glad, God, that we're able to have a space to where people can really have dialogue about issues that affect us every day. And so we're thankful for Real Talk, God. We ask that you continue to pour into this particular ministry. God, mental health is so important. And God, we're thankful for Elder Teresa Lee leading this. And we're so thankful for Sister Tamara Love as well in this effort, because we know, God, that you are a God that is just, that is mighty, and that will stand the test of time. And God, we're so thankful. Continue to bless and replenish them, and we continue to bless and replenish every person that has watched on tonight. Add to their household and do great and mighty things. It's in the name of Jesus we all pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Thank you all for joining us on tonight. We will see you, God willing, on November the 7th, the same time at 6 p.m. On Monday night. Have a good evening. Thank you.
All right. Love
Bye.
y'all.
Thank you all.
Thanks for watching. For prayer, call 318-631-LOVE. That's 318-631-5683. We are better together. For more information on how you can connect with this ministry, please visit us at praisetemple.com.